I think when I think of teen pregnancy, I think of children trying to raise children, trying to parent children maybe who haven't been parented themselves so much.
In a haze, a stormy haze, I'll be round, I'll be loving you always, always.
More acceptable.
Well, I think the media, like I said, is one of them. It's become easier to see that it's accepted more in the media. The breakup of the family, you no longer have the extended family. You may have the extended family, but parents are both working, so they're not taking the attention kids need. I mean, there's various factors that contribute to that, not just the media, but also within our society and how we've dealt with teenagers and how we're raising our children.
I think part of it has to do with people fooling themselves and thinking that they're not going to have sex, and so it takes them by surprise. They don't plan for it. I think they don't think things through. I think most people know the consequences. I don't think it's that I think most people are pretty educated. I think they just don't apply the rules to themselves a lot of the times.
It makes me feel sad that we haven't really educated our students well enough to be able to prepare themselves and feel secure and safe and confident in themselves to decide to wait before they decide to have children, and then have to deal with the aftermath of having a child, because it's a great responsibility.
I think people when they have kids, especially at a very young age, because I mean they do this even though if they're 30, 40 years old, they tend to just give up sometimes and not keep on going. And that's what I think most of the moms go through. They tend to give up. They want to.
Before I was pregnant, like I would see all these girls getting pregnant, and I would be like, "Oh my God, what are they thinking? You know, they're so young. Like, aren't they thinking about what's gonna happen to them in the future, or how are they gonna support their children? What are they gonna do?"
Kind of a shame, because I think being a teenager is a time in your life when you should be having the most fun and the most free and not have limitations and not have huge, you should be planning for your future, getting your education, having your adventures, exploring life, and I think that's really hard to do when you have a child.
Well, for me, it wasn't exactly a great experience, but the way that I see it is in the past, women have been having children for when they were younger, getting married at 18, having kids, and it's possible. It's hard. It's hard, and it's not easy, and it's something that shouldn't be, taken very lightly.
Pretty much just by myself. I didn't tell anyone, not until, well, I didn't find out until I was like 4 months pregnant, actually. So, I told the dad, and he was supportive. He was very calm, and just, he didn't react in a bad way. And I was crying, and he was just very comforting. And yeah, I guess that was the whole support.
I knew it was a huge responsibility, and that was what kept ringing through my head. It was responsibility, responsibility, responsibility. But after a while, when he was about 11 months old, he got really sick, and he was hospitalized for 3 weeks. He had to have major surgery, and it was then that I realized what it really meant to be a mom. My heart just ached, and just the thought of not having him anymore, it killed me. So that was when I realized what it really felt like to love somebody more than you love yourself. And it didn't matter, anything didn't matter.
It's really hard because you don't want to come to school first. You just want to stay home with your baby. You just want to be with them. With me, I got up to a point where she was more important than anything. She is still more important than anything, but now I have my how do you say it? priorities, right?
So it was helpful to have your parents involved. What about the father?
At that point, he was not involved. He was away. He was locked up. And so he wasn't there. He was gone throughout my whole pregnancy. He was able to come and see my baby when he was born, but he was still locked up.
We were together until my son was about 4, and we tried to make things work, and we just didn't get along very well. So after that, it was a really messy breakup, and he chose not to be around for a while. So before we moved up here, I told him, you know, if you want to have anything to do with him, you need to start coming around. So he decided that was a good idea, I guess.
Is he supportive, like child support and all?
Not at all.
No? Does he have a job?
No.
No. Do you have a job?
Yes.
I think it is, and like I know that it's really hard to raise a kid by yourself, because I did it for 1 year and it's really hard, and like it's sad to see like the children raising up and like them going to school and seeing other people who have both parents. Like I've noticed it in a lot of children, and it's really hard to see them get that feeling that they don't have a father or they don't have a mother, and it's really sad to see. And I think it's important for them to have both, even though sometimes it just doesn't work out.
I'm into school too much, and that was my first thing. Like, oh man, like my parents have worked so hard to get me where I am, and I mean, I don't do anything for them, and you know, what have I done? You know, you just feel guilty, and
because I was always into school, and since I was small, I was always saying to myself that I was going to go to college and I was going to become someone in life. So I was not expecting to get pregnant.
I did consider it, and when I told my mom, I told her, you know, Mom, what if I do this? And she was, well, you know what? Things happen for a reason, so don't let that get to your mind. And if you really want to develop, I'll be there for you. But I want to have, you know, I want to see her, I want to meet her.
Already. I know that we've had several that have graduated from Watsonville High School that have gone on to college that were teen mothers. In fact, last year we had a student that was accepted at Davis.
And yeah, I consider it that no, I didn't do it because, yeah, things do happen for a reason.
Throughout my whole pregnancy, I continued school, and I got lucky and I delivered during spring break. So after spring break, I went back to school because I was committed that I was going to come to UCSC.
Turned away when you slammed the door, when you stole the car and drove towards Mexico, and you wrote bad checks just to fill your arm. I was young enough, I still believed in